Glorious is challenging the entire peripheral market. They did it when they released the original Model O last year, and recently, they released their own version of one of the most sought after keyboard switches, the Holy Pandas. They mass produced it and priced it 50% lower than the competition. They also just announced the GMMK Pro, a custom keyboard that is looking to turn the mechanical keyboard market on its head. Today, we are taking a look at a product that is again set to undercut the entire ultralight wireless mouse category, the Model O Wireless. Hi everyone, Dredjan here, and today we are taking a look at the glorious Model O Wireless from PC Gaming Race. Full disclosure, Glorious did send this to me, but they gave me free reign to say what I want on the review. So the Model O Wireless is an ultralight, honeycomb RGB mouse. It comes in matte black or matte white and it retails for only $80. I usually discuss competition at the end of my videos, but this is so central to this mouse that this is the first point that I want to highlight. This undercuts the competition by a lot. Logitech's G Pro Wireless is priced at $130, while the G Pro X will be coming out at $150. Same goes for the Razer Viper Ultimate, $130 without a dock, which costs an additional $20. This is a move that benefits us consumers a lot. In the mechanical keyboard scene, where custom and limited runs have driven the prices up to crazy levels, they leverage on their ability to mass produce to drive prices down. Here on the mouse side of things, Glorious doesn't have the massive overheads that big name brands like Razer and Logitech do, enabling them to drive prices down. Okay, so enough economic talk, let's unbox. So out of the box, you get the mouse, a USB extender with the dongle attached to it, a USB Type-C extended cord, and some paperwork and stickers. Going to the fit and shape of the mouse, a lot of which will be personal preference. The shape here is identical to the original Model O, symmetrical, ambidextrous design, though it does not have left hand support. This is meant for medium to large hands. For reference, my hands are 19.5 by 11 centimeters, which is at the boundary of medium and large, and I find this shape to be just right. My default mouse grip is claw, and I find the body just low enough for me not to feel restricted when aiming, which is something that I did not know until I changed from the Logitech G502 to the Model O a couple of months ago. Ergo mice are usually designed to have a raised left side that slopes down to the right to follow the natural shape of the grip. As a result, it fills your hand, giving lesser space to move the mouse within your palm. This is perfectly fine if you main a palm grip and aim mostly with your arm. For me, who mains a claw grip, I prefer the Model O shape as this gives me a better range of motion, though you can also palm grip this mouse. To be honest, I could talk about the dimensions of this mouse, but it's hard to say whether a mouse will be a good fit for you unless you've tried it for a couple of days. For that, I have two tips. First, Glorious does offer a 30-day money-back guarantee for products purchased from their website. If you are on the fence, you can take advantage of this and try out the mouse. If you end up not liking it, you can return it, though you would need to pay shipping, so this will likely only be viable for those living in the USA. Second thing, to me, saying that a mouse is 128mm long means very little. I could also tell you how this compares to another mouse, but there's a good chance that you may not have the reference mouse. What I could tell you is go to this website, gear search, shape compare, and input the mouse that you are currently using. This website presents a good comparison of mouse shape. You would have a good idea whether the Model O is smaller or larger compared to the mouse that you are currently using, and you would be able to make a more informed decision. Let's now go to the physical features of the mouse. The Model O wireless out of the box looks and feels very premium. The matte finish is more on the smoother side. It weighs 69 grams and that is made possible with the use of this honeycomb design. You have it at the top and bottom of the mouse. I honestly thought this would bother me since I do tend to be sensitive to these kinds of things, but it didn't. After maining the wired Model O for around 4 months, I could tell you that this will get dirt on the edges of the honeycomb over time, though it can be easily cleaned with some Q-tips. If you still have doubts with this design choice, Glorious also offer grip tapes for $10 and I cannot wait for those to get here so I could put them on. They look really nice. Going to the buttons, left and right triggers are really good. These are Omron mechanicals rated for 20 million clicks, crispy and responsive. Very minimal pre-travel, post-travel, and side play on the triggers. You only really feel it if you look for it. The scroll wheel is where I ran to a bit of an issue. I made a sound test of the mouse on the day that I received it and here's how it sounds. After 2 weeks of daily use, the scroll wheel started squeaking. I can confirm that after using the wired Model O and Model D for a couple of months that I did not run into this issue. It is a bit annoying when you don't have headphones on, so take note. Side buttons are slim, almost no pre-travel and a bit of post-travel but only if you press hard on it. I like the bigger side buttons on the Model D and hope that they would put it here, but it would probably affect the structural integrity of the mouse, so it's okay. Here's the sound test. You have a DPI button behind the scroll wheel. You can cycle through 4 DPI settings which you can check using the DPI indicator at the bottom of the mouse. You also have the on and off switch and 4 mouse feet branded as G-Skates, which are made of 100% pure virgin PTFE. They feel smooth and glide well. Glorious also offers ceramic feet named G-Floats if that is something that you're into. Sensor here is Glorious's own BAMF sensor, which stands for Big Attack on Mouse Flagships. The sensor is solid. DPI goes from 100 to 19,000. No issues whatsoever, and to be honest, I do not think that sensor performance should be a differentiator for flagship mice, as you would expect these to perform equally well. Same goes for the wireless performance, no issues on latencies even if the receiver was plugged underneath my table. If you prefer to have the receiver closer to the mouse, you can use the included USB extender. One of the questions I had on my mind when the Model O wireless was announced was, how will the battery handle that RGB? No shame, I like the RGB implementation of the Glorious mice and I initially bought it just because of that. In my opinion, it's still the best in the business. The diffusion and how the design just flows is top notch. Battery life is rated for 71 hours without the LED, which is good. However, that is significantly lowered when you turn the RGB on. Based on my testing, you get around 12 to 15 hours with the RGB on 100%, and that gets extended by 2 to 3 hours if you use it on the lowest brightness setting. You will need to charge every 3 to 4 days depending on your usage if you always have RGB on. That is a bit acceptable since this is an ultralight mouse, but I hope that they could extend it to at least 25 hours. Once the battery is low, the RGB will be turned off and the mouse wheel will glow red. You charge the mouse using any USB Type-C cable. You can play while you charge using the included ascended cord, which is a really good cable. You barely feel this when gaming. One issue that I have here is that this cable attaches really tightly to the mouse and you would need to pull it with a bit of force to remove it. I guess this was a design choice to guarantee that the cable won't come off if you game while charging, but I can't help but think that applying such force regularly may break something in the mouse. That is one thing that I will be looking at in the long run. You can change the RGB setting by using a couple of shortcuts. You would need to press and hold the DPI and scroll wheel button, then press another button to trigger the shortcuts. Pressing the right trigger cycles through 4 brightness levels. Pressing the front button cycles through the different RGB modes, while pressing the back button changes the effect speed. For the software, Glorious has released a new one called Glorious Score, which in my opinion is totally optional. If you are okay with the DPI settings out of the box, there is no need to install it. The shortcuts are enough for you to change the RGB settings as well. The software allows you to set 6 DPI levels, left-off distance, debounce time, polling rate, and macros. You can install it once, then uninstall it after you've loaded your settings. Going to the build quality, I think this is a very well built mouse, though the squeak in the scroll wheel on my unit is a bit unfortunate. Some may have concerns regarding quality issues, which I honestly feel happens with any brand, but what I could tell you from personal experience is that Glorious's customer service is top-notch. I've had issues with some pre-orders a couple of months ago and they were able to sort it out within a couple of minutes. A friend of mine who is based in the US received a defective Model D. He sent a video of the defect to customer service and was immediately shipped a replacement free of charge. So, to close it off, the Model O Wireless is a solid wireless mouse that goes toe-to-toe with Flagships that are double its price. If you are currently on the lookout for a mouse, hands down, this will be my #1 recommendation for gaming mice, period. For the longest time, I personally could not recommend flagship wireless mice because paying an additional $100 just to get rid of the wires is too high of a price for me. For an additional $30 over the wired version, I would say that the upgrade is well worth it for the Model O Wireless. However, if you currently own the wired Model O, I would say to stick to it for the meantime unless you really want a wireless setup. In my personal opinion, the Ascended cord performs really well, making the performance of the wired and wireless Model O very similar. So that is it for this video, and I hope I had helped you in deciding whether this is the mouse for you. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, please consider subscribing as only 4% of my viewers are subscribed. It helps the channel a lot. See you on the next one. Bye!